This video is brought to you by Robinhood, the investment brokers that let you buy stocks, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies all commission free. There's still time to take advantage of this historic 2020 stock market crash, and if you sign up using the link in the description below, you'll instantly receive one free stock without even depositing a single penny. No, this still isn't my real portfolio, but I have added to it a bit, like the stock on your screen. That's Cody. They make like makeup, Revlon, stuff like that. What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got some very spicy duels for you guys to check out. We are actually out here unironically playing freaking Mecha Phantom Beast. I'm not just talking about Auroradon. I'm not just talking about Beasto Lion cards that are largely splashable at this point. My man is going full in on the strategy of Mecha Phantom Beast and token producing, and you guys will see why in a second. Summoning some of the more obscure Mecha Phantom Beast cards to just absolutely obliterate his opponents and terrorize his opening hand. By the way, if you guys enjoy duels like these where you get to see all types of crazy stuff and dank action, do me a favor and give the video a big thumbs up. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. It helps the video get shown to people who aren't just you, and it helps the channel grow. Anyways, the first duel, it's Mermill with Mecha Phantom Beast splashed in, and usually you think of Mecha Phantom Beast as like a little mini engine, and Mermill is a deck that likes to assault the hand. Usually Mermill can do this in a couple of ways. They can use some of these new deep sea cards. These are like sea serpents, so you can search them and you can take cards out of your opponent's hand. It's not permanent, but generally if they have a really powerful card you don't want to deal with, like Nibiru, that's the best way to just look at their hand, take it out. And then the second way, of course, is with Moulin Glacier, another searchable card in the deck. Now usually these are the usual suspects when it comes to Mecha Phantom Beast, and by the way, he just took out 2 more cards, I believe, or he's in the process of taking 2 more cards. There you go. With Moulin Glacier, the usual suspects are, and this is usually coming after Crystron Halifibrax, but the usual suspects are Mecha Phantom Beast, Auroradon, and then also Mecha Phantom Beasto Lion. Some people argue that Auroradon's actually like ban worthy. I don't think so. It gives a lot of tokens, which probably wasn't the smartest thing. Konami's banned a bunch of token producing cards, and then they just go ahead and make more like Link Cross and Auroradon. But I really feel like Auroradon, you don't see it, you don't really see the card summoned if you don't see Halifibrax summoned. But this is something I definitely didn't expect. So you're gonna get all the tokens from Beasto Lion and Auroradon, and usually that's just kind of it. You're like, all right, Captain, do some synchro summoning, and that's pretty much going to be the Boil Load, Savage Dragon play, and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's cool, but what if you could just take away more cards out of your opponent's hand by doing this spicy cheese? So go ahead, tribute some monsters on field that don't honestly matter, and go ahead and summon this guy, Mecha Phantom Beast Blue Impala. So this is going to allow you to synchro summon into another copy or into another Mecha Phantom Beast extra deck monster, not the Draco sack that we saw a ton in the Dragon Ruler days of Zexor, but this one. This is actually their synchro monster, and this card can take 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. Now you do have to give up those tokens, so there's not going to be any more synchro summoning after this, but basically you take your opponent's entire opening hand, 1 card from the Diva card, 2 cards from Moulin Glacier, and then 2 more from this Mecha Phantom Beast. And at that point, what exactly is your opponent playing with? Like 1 card that they're going to draw? Now look, they get 1 card back during the end phase, but all you have to do is make sure that's the worst card in their opening hand, and your opponent truly only has like 1 card to beat you. Now maybe they can draw some cards with that, but I doubt it. If it's not like a power draw card, like an Extravagance or something like that, they're going to be in a very bad position. I believe also you don't get a battle phase in that follow-up turn because you did actually take your Moulin Glacier off field. But this is actually pretty darn dank, and I feel like if someone really put their mind to it, they could probably make a pure version of Mecha Phantom Beast that could probably just use these Mecha Phantom Beast cards over and over again to just take cards out of their opponent's hand, because right now Mecha Phantom Beasts are incredibly strong. Link summoning, or they have one of the best Link monsters in the game, and they naturally synchro summon, and they can produce a whole lot of tokens. Anyways, second duel, Mech Knights, or let's just say a Mech Knight variant that's really, it's like the whole World Legacy storyline in one duel, versus the Rocket deck. And Rocket deck is going to make An incredibly impressive turn one. Rockets have kind of fallen off right now, but they still do have a very high ceiling. They can still use things like Halifabrax, which means they got better. They still got the guard dragons. They still have some of the most strongest cards. That's not proper English. They still can use some of the strongest cards in the game. And then, of course, they do got this guy, Boral in Dragon. If you were looking for another Boral that could give you negation, not just Savage, you can obviously go into this. Now, the problem is all of this is in vain. This is why I don't want to play a combo deck. Because your opponent opens with Dark Ruler No More and your entire combo goes down the drain. And honestly, I think Dark Ruler No More should be main decked in like everything because it's just so good against everything that isn't El Dorado. So he makes a pretty strong board turn one. You've got your Borrowing Dragon, Borreload Savage Dragon, and then it's not negation, but it is double disruption in Evil Swarm Nightmare. I love this card. We don't see it enough. I think it's because it requires 2 level 4 Dark monsters. Lunalights used to be able to go 2 of this, when Lunalights was still kind of a popular deck, but yeah, you can only make it in Dark Attribute archetypes, which it just so happens that Rocket archetype is. Anyways, Dark Ruler No More will almost certainly be the first play. By the way, people, do not activate card effects if you're under Dark Ruler No More, because if your opponent has 3 tactical talents, they end up just drawing cards and getting a whole bunch of crazy broken effects based on you trying to activate effects that you can't even activate. So you're basically just making your opponent's dead card technically live. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to make Mekk-Knight Crusadia Astrum, and that's going to just take out the Borrowing Dragon. So you think, okay, Cap, well, clearly this game's over. He's got the Astrum or Avramax on field. This guy doesn't have anything that he can use against it. You might be surprised. What if I told you all these cards are gonna come back with a vengeance? This is gonna be a turn so ridiculous that even time itself is going to be broken. So he's actually going to blow up his copy of Savage Dragon. He says, well, it doesn't have any negation, so what's the point? I'm just gonna get rid of it. But did he really? He's going to summon that Borreload Dragon back from the graveyard. So I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. And he puts his Borreload Savage back in his extra deck, only to be summoned again. Now it's like, all right, no problem. He has it right back on the field. Now his opponent says, hey, not so fast, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and activate World Legacy Secret. As long as I put a Mekk-Knight monster in that column, your dude is going to be negated before he actually attaches something, because he's looking for a really big monster, I assume. He is going to continue on summoning, and this is the interesting thing. He says, Cap, I don't need that stinking Borreload Savage Dragon. I'll just make another one. He's going to put it back in his extra deck, and for the 3rd time in this duel, he has dropped Borreload Savage Dragon, but it's still not going to activate. He's going to go ahead and switch Indigo into that column, and it's going to be negated. And now I think he's a little tilted because he's ended on Boral Sword Dragon. And guess this, man, or check this out. He's actually going to go in the battle phase, and he broke time itself. He jokingly spent too much time in that turn, and he ultimately loses by timeout. Or he times up, can't play anymore Yu-Gi-Oh! The game's like, you know what, man, you spent way too much time making freaking stupid Borreload Savage Dragons, and we don't have any more time for this. So he ultimately is going to lose the duel. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure. I guess he could have maybe, see, I don't even know how these 2 cards work because they basically have the same effect where they gain each other's attack. I'd have to see that play out to know what exactly would be the conclusion of that. But when you spend that much time making Borreload Savage Dragons in a turn, I guess even Edo Pro doesn't want to let you continue trying to combo out. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed those short and dank duels. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Actually, hold on, I'll pause for one quick second to show you guys that Mermail deck. Alright, so this is what the Mecha Phantom Beast Mermail deck looks like on paper, and I'm a little disappointed, honestly. I expected there to be a little more Mecha Phantom Beast action in this build. I thought there'd be like maybe 1 or 2 more cards, because at this point, you basically see Beasto Lion kind of used in everything, and whenever you see Beasto Lion, you're probably going to see Auroradon in the extra deck, but this is a card that you don't usually see, and I'm pretty sure only Mecha Phantom Beast players actually know about Mecha Phantom Beast. Jakku Salon? Who made these names? That better be like, I better be able to Google that and find out that that's like a model of Jet or something like that. I do think it's interesting. I mean, I guess this guy really wants to combo out because he's running 2 copies of some of these cards that you don't usually see 2 of. 2 copies of the Blue Impala, which, I mean, we did see that used in the duel. He did open with it, but then he also summoned one from his deck using the effect of Auroradon. 2 copies of Beasto Lion, even 2 copies of Mulan Glacia. That is so incredibly bizarre. You just don't usually see 2 copies of a lot of those cards. Now, the thing about Mermail, and I think the biggest issue, even though it has an incredibly high ceiling, the reason why you're not seeing it do well competitively right now, like even other decks that are just, not just like Madoche and Emancipators, but even like Dinosaurs doing really well and Mermail aren't, is because if you look at this build, sure, you can take out 5 cards in your opponent's opening hand. Sure, you can even make crazy things like Bahamut Shark totally awesome and do some really good things like Abyss Gaios. I'm not exactly sure how you drop True King of All Calamities, but let's just say you can do it. The problem is, what exactly are you doing if you're going second? Because this deck doesn't have anything to stop the opponent turn 1. If you go second and your opponent is playing a combo deck, like, you're just going to have to hope that they brick or that they use their negation in like a bad way or something like that, because you don't even have like kaijus. I'm used to kind of seeing Mermail players not really run a bunch of hand traps, but even playing things like Gameciel in the main deck, because you guys know Gameciel is a water monster. You can send it to the graveyard with like your Mermail monsters to summon them. It can break negates on field, and it can also be used for Moray of Greed. Like if it's not useful, hell, you can use it for Swap Frog. So even a card like Gameciel, which naturally fits into the Mermail Atlantean strategy, it's not in here. And I'm guessing that if you weren't running like the Blue Impalas or, maybe a second copy of Beasto Lion, this could easily be 3 copies of Gameciel. So if you're playing this build, if you're interested, of course, it will be in the description below. But just know that if you go second, if your opponent does anything that's competent, you're probably going to lose with this build. No impermanences, no Ash, no kaijus even. I just don't see it working out for you. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, the deck will be in the description below. Thank you guys for watching as always.